Please come forward. State your name and address, please.
My name is Tom Wilbers. I reside at 5517 Old 41 South, right across the street from the property. We are the ones requesting the change. Basically, there are a lot of questions, and I'm happy to answer any questions about any of this. I've been a resident there my whole life, and I don't want to see any adverse effect on the community any more than anyone else does. It's adjoining the commercial. It seems like it's a large parcel, but the new regulations require a 30-foot buffer from commercial to residential. So we made it so that we could put up a privacy fence and plant some trees and things of that nature to block any kind of noise and anything to the neighborhood. So Old 41 won't be in any way, there'll be residential on either side of Old 41. And we plan on putting a restaurant there, just a family type restaurant, Beef O'Brady's, Wood Nickel, farmhouse, rodeo, what have you. That type, we have no ambition to put any kind of a bar in there or anything, and I don't even think that's allowed in the zoning that we're asking for. So look for your vote, and if you have any questions, please ask them.
Are there any questions for the speaker from the commissioners?
Just,
Mr. Rector.
thank you. I was making some notes. First of all, it's a beautiful piece of property. It's elevated. There's some old pines or old oak trees up there.
Yes, sir.
And I see where you're going to preserve those.
Yes, sir.
But the entrance and the exit will be on, not the old 41, not from the back, but just from the front.
Just on the highway.
And I noticed there was in the recommendation several things that need to be considered, the bicycles, the walking, and this and that and the other. I just wanted to add to that, and if you consider this, that you're going to need some lights.
Sure.
And there's going to be some residents close by.
Sure.
And there's going to have to be some accommodations for that. Then there's going to be the headlights of the cars coming in because that's elevated, and they're going to be shining right down the hill.
Yes, sir.
And has that been thought through? Or?
Yes, sir. I've already purchased a 400 feet of privacy fence that should take care of any kind of noise. I mean, it's a PVC fence that it'll let the trees that we're going to, like Leland cypress and stuff, to allow them to grow next to the fence. And then eventually there'll be a pretty sizable buffer. As we've cleared out all the small stuff that we're going to clear out, but the larger stuff, I mean, we got to have some sunlight in there to grow the shrubbery and stuff. So, yeah, living across the street, I don't want it any more than anyone else does, and we're taking careful consideration to all of that.
I was thinking of the people down on the lake, because they'll be entering up on the hill, and everything, car that comes in and goes out is going to be shining their light right into particularly the two houses located at each end of the property.
Yes, sir. I reside on one of those.
That's
Yeah.
your lot then. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've taken that under consideration, and anything that we have to do to make it better, and if anybody's got any suggestions, we're all open to any kind of ideas. I just see that the commercial side of 41 is the best use, and we've been, well, this will be our 6th restaurant in the family, and I've got a brother moving down, and we're going to make it a family style restaurant, and that's our intention. And the commercial stuff up the road is not the type stuff that we're interested in. I mean, a honky tonk, so to speak, or things of that nature is not our goal. So we want something that little league teams and everybody can enjoy the place. So that's what we have in mind for it.
Okay. Are there any other questions for the speaker?
Mr. Chairman.
Sheriff?
Tom, I noticed on your letter of intent that you indicated it would be called Jack's Lakeside and would have a large arcade for children.
Yes, sir.
Is it going to be like a Chuck E. Cheese type of Commissioner?
Wood Nickel would be probably or a beef O'Brady's would be the closest comparison. The food, it's not gonna be, I won't say that it'll have a game room that kids can go play in and stuff while the adults are sitting there watching the ball game.
Separate, okay.
Yeah.
It would not be, you would not then term this a sports bar?
I would term this, if I can ask you a question, Cheddar's. Everybody's been to Cheddar's, or a lot of people have been to Cheddar's. Kind of the same thing. The only difference would be like an arcade in it. I would say that would best depict what we plan on doing with the place. We're looking to do a lot of catering for the community and that type thing, dinners and what have you. And that's our main goal with it is a restaurant type atmosphere.
Another question, since you're up here, I'm going to ask away here. If the restaurant is, it's hard to predict the future, of course, but if the restaurant would, for whatever reason, be resold, et cetera, it's an uncontrollable issue then of what alcohol would have to do, what role it would play with a new owner.
Well,
and so how do you justify stating that it will not be a main focus of the facility?
The main thing is I plan to, well, the whole family plans to pass it on to generations. But the main thing with the property is the zoning doesn't allow a bar in that particular zoning, and it would have to be a restaurant, to allow it. So, other than somebody maliciously trying to change something that wasn't allowed, I don't see where that'd be an issue.
Also, in your letter of intent, you state historically, this was commercial property.
Yes, sir.
Prior to zoning, I guess, ever being thought of down in that area especially. Yes. And I know your mother has been very active in the history of that area.
Right.
But I just wondered if you could enlighten us as to what and when that was.
To the best of my knowledge, I think you guys have some pictures of the actual food stand or whatever it was. It was actually on the lower part and the upper part. There was a gas dock and a beverage.
On that particular
Yes, sir.
Parcel?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And there's pictures of it. Did they get pictures of it?
No, sir.
I can pass it around. I've got a picture.
That's all. That's okay. It's not necessary to take the word for it.
Okay.
Do you? You've already probably answered this, but when you talk about family restaurants, you're talking about the ones that's in the area that's available now for sale or lease. Or at least that's what the sign says. And I just wondered if since you say they do not meet your criteria.
Yes, sir.
What then would be the, can they be revamped or whatever to meet that criteria?
Well, the Rascals is the one you're referring to. The tavern, I had a deal struck about 4 years ago on the tavern, and somebody, Don Brotherton and I had a deal worked out. The deal fell through because the current owner at the time, or the owner of the business at the time, had a long-term lease on the property. I didn't want to be a landlord. And it's since sold and it's not for sale. It's currently leased right now. As far as Rascals goes, from my understanding, there's several $100,000 worth of sound equipment and everything else in that building, and I don't plan on even having a stage in this place. Background music is about all we're going to do. I don't have any interest in having a stage or sound equipment or a band for that matter, unless it's some kind of, community event that, everybody's doing something in an afternoon for a festival or something, I wouldn't see any reason to even have it. So, I've had a restaurant before, it's kind of turned in a different direction. The Raging Cajun is an example. When I had it, it was more of a sports bar. Now it's more of a bar, and it's not the clientele that I'm looking to draw to my place or our place. But as far as Rascals, it's not open, it's not airy, no windows, it's more of a bar.
Yeah.
And or a nightclub, and as far as food is going to be our main item, and you're not going to draw anybody into it.
All right, the goals that you mentioned in your letter of intent, are those goals from the comprehensive plan that you specifically picked out and
Yes,
highlighted for us here?
Yes, sir.
And as far as your intentions are, that those
Yes.
would be met?
Yes, sir. And let me add that all the building and everything else that we plan on putting up, all natural colors, all the brick, stone, everything else will all be natural. There's not going to be a golden arch, so to speak, up there where it's going to be an eyesore.
And the square footage has been compared to, I think Texas Roadhouse is one of them, which is a huge piece of property, but, at least it appears to me that it is. And so I assume that you're comfortable in making this restaurant some similar size to what that would be, or?
The building that I have, we're mainly, well, let me just say that about 2,500 feet of the building is going to be kitchen for catering, event catering and stuff like that. The kitchen is going to be more of a luxury item, and the building's going to have to be bigger to accommodate that. But we don't plan on getting into a huge amount of people. The arcade's going to take up some room, and you're going to have that size of a building just to accommodate a few hundred people. And I would say time you add all the little spaces up and everything, the capacity should be just over 200.
Are you comfortable with the fact that if it's required, that there be acceleration and deceleration lanes
Sure.
required?
Sure.